वीडियो शुरू होने से पहले बता दूं भाई, बहुत मेहनत लगी है। लाइक करें भाई, शेयर भी करें, बहुत मेहनत लगती है यार ऐसी वीडियो बनाने में।
तीसरे टर्म में दुनिया की पहली 3 इकोनॉमीज में एक नाम भारत का होगा।
India will surpass Japan and Germany to become the third largest economy in the world by 2032 thanks to its sustained GDP growth rally, according to the UK-based Economic Consultancy Centre for Economics and Business Research in its most recent World Economic League table report. The report predicts an average 6.5% economic growth rate from 2024 to 2028. India's huge and youthful population, burgeoning middle class, vibrant entrepreneurial sector, and expanding global economic integration are the main factors contributing to the country's climb in the global GDP table. Based on demographic forecasts and multi-decade projections, the organization projects that India will surpass countries like the US and China to become the most powerful economic powerhouse by 2080. Given that the US is predicted to have a GDP that is 45% more than China's by 2100, China's reign at the top is limited. However, India's economy will continue to grow for the rest of the century. It will ultimately overtake all others to become the largest economic powerhouse, having emerged as the third largest economy. By the end of the century, India's GDP is predicted to be 30% higher than the US's and 90% greater than China's. India will host general elections this year. This is anticipated to influence the political landscape of the country for the ensuing 5 years, and it would be fascinating to observe how China modifies its strategies to maintain its position in the economic hierarchy while India maintains its rising velocity. Making a flurry of revisions in the economy's growth estimates, the National Statistical Office on Thursday raised India's real GDP growth estimate for this year to 7.6% from the 7.3% projected last month. It also scaled down its 7.2% growth estimate for 2022 to 23 to 7% and raised its 2021 to 22 estimate from 9.1% to 9.7%. The gross value added in the economy is projected to rise 6.9% this year, with the NSO downgrading last year's GVA growth to 6.7% from 7%. GDP growth for the first 2 quarters of this year was raised to 8.2% and 8.1%, further rising to 8.4% for the October to December 2023 quarter 3. Economists expressed some surprise that GVA growth in quarter 3 slid to just 6.5% from revised estimates of 8.2% and 7.7% in quarter 1 and quarter 2. Concerns also persisted about private consumption, which grew 3.5% in quarter 3 from 2.4% in quarter 2, while the full-year growth estimate was downgraded to 3% from the 4.4% reckoned in early January. Global demand deceleration and the Reserve Bank of India's proactive tightening of monetary policy to reduce inflationary pressures are the 2 main issues impeding development in FY24. In terms of inflation, according to the Ministry of Statistics and Programme Implementation, India's retail inflation rate in December 2023 was 5.69%, the highest in 4 months. This is high from 5.5% in November, and is close to the Reserve Bank of India's tolerance range of 2 to 6%. The 10-year average inflation rate 5.8% from 2011 to 2021 is higher than the current rate of consumer price rise. Remarkably, beginning May 2022, the RBI has raised rates by a total of 250 basis points, bringing them to 6.5% by February 2023. The largest difficulty in terms of economic restrictions is the debt of the public sector. Government debt as a share of GDP is predicted to rise to 81.9% in 2023 from 81% in 2022. 2024 to 25 borrowing is estimated to be 5.1% of GDP, adhering to that path. Similarly, the gross and net market borrowings through dated securities during 2024 to 25 are estimated at 14.13 rupees and 11.75 lakh crore respectively, and both will be less than that in 2023 to 24. Despite challenging international circumstances, the government has implemented changes to encourage private investment, such as loosening restrictions on foreign direct investment, initiatives to privatize state-owned businesses, and simplification of the tax code. In general, these are anticipated to improve productivity and the corporate environment over time. Poverty, inequality, the need for improved infrastructure and human capital, and environmental sustainability are some of the issues that India is now experiencing. After India, let's discuss China and its terrible policies that are bringing about an economic catastrophe. Because of the one-child policies, the aging population is one of the primary causes of this. It was not long before China's GDP per capita began to rise from near absolute poverty. The Chinese economy was performing considerably better in 2012, mostly as a result of changes that aided in economic liberalization. However, hundreds of millions of Chinese people continue to live in abject poverty. This is among the factors contributing to China's persistently lower GDP per capita than the United States. Although the one-child policy did prevent an imminent catastrophe, it was a poor government response to a crisis that was mostly caused by poor policies. The much better course of action would have been to accelerate development through even more extensive economic changes. People who are wealthier and better educated will be produced by a developing economy, and they typically have fewer children. For example, Europe has exceptionally low fertility rates because its citizens have made this decision on their own. No population control measures were necessary. The one-child policy gave rise to three significant demographic issues like skewed gender ratios, an inversion of the age pyramid, and a generation of little emperors. The phrase "little emperor" describes the large number of young Chinese individuals who were raised as only children. The effects of living in a culture where most individuals have never had siblings are just now starting to be recognized. Compared to generations born before 1979, the little emperor generation is less risk-averse, less competitive, less altruistic, and less trustworthy. This also has an impact on their military prowess. In addition to easing the military forces' enrollment requirements, Xi Jinping is currently running out of professional active military personnel to join the PLA. But Americans also suffering from this issue of military volunteers drying up fast, but not because of youth shortage, but because of drugs and high patriotic demand required. They are trying to solve this issue by allegedly trying to recruit illegal immigrants coming from South American continent. Coming to China, the second significant demographic issue is the inversion of the age pyramid. It indicates that there are not enough young, employed individuals to care for the excessive number of old people. Finally, the one-child ban has resulted in a shortage of women. According to Standard Biology, there are about 105 to 107 male human births for every 100 female births. However, the ratio is skewed in China, where there are 115 men for every 100 women. This is due to the fact that Chinese parents preferentially terminate infant girls and prefer to have sons. The ratio might be as skewed as 130 to 100 in some areas. China's population is expected to drastically fall to 590 million by 2100, indicating severe demographic shifts.